why let the bank take our money and then go use it and make money? Because if we have money loaned at a bank and we have money deposit at the bank, then they're making over 2,000% more than us from us. Infinite banking is seceding from the banking system. It's no different than seller finance. Mm-hmm. It's bringing the finance part of banking to the you and me level.
What's going on? This is Brett Snodgrass with another episode of the Iron Deep Podcast. We got Jim Oliver on the show with me. What's going on, Jim?
Hey, Brett. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on the show, man.
Yeah, man. Excited. I was just on your podcast, so make sure you guys check that out. Just was on Jim's show. And Jim, super excited about the topic today. Obviously, a lot of business owners, real estate investors on this particular podcast, men of faith. We're going to talk about a topic that, honestly, I've talked about before today, but I'm still confused. And a confused person doesn't buy. Now, I have bought into this, and I do have infinite banking and the IBC, and I've bought into it, but still, I'm still confused. But I took other experts' word for it, but I still am confused. We're going to talk about infinite banking concept and how to really build independence, freedom, and financial freedom through that. Before I really talk about that, though, Jim, I just want to talk about your personal story, man, because you got quite the story. Foster system, working in a casket factory, things like that, man. Let's hear about Jim.
Okay. So I had five natural siblings, and I was a middle child, and I was given up for adoption at birth. My mom, my birth mother, said that she was raped, and her husband said that she had an affair. So either way, he said, if you bring that baby home, I'll kill it. Okay. So I didn't know this until I was in my 20s. I didn't know about the whole story until I was in my 20s, and somebody reached out to me and said, hey, I'm your brother. And so then long story short, I went into the foster system, bounced around a lot in the foster system, and finally got adopted. But I got adopted into a family that should never have adopted a child, and it was very abusive, a lot of alcohol abuse and other things. And it taught me a lot. And these people really lived in poverty. In fact, there was a point in time where we slept behind the Moose Lodge. We were homeless, my adopted mother and I. And I would look up and I would see all these people that had money and had comfortable home. And I thought, why is this happening to me? Right. And so my mom, she worked in a casket factory. And so when I was 13, she said, you're going to work in the casket factory during the summer, keep you out of trouble. Because I was definitely in trouble, Brett, all the time. So I was swinging a hammer at the casket factory to take the handles, to kind of mold the handles from that would go on the side of a casket. And then somebody else would plate them. And, it was this whole process, right? McIntyre Manufacturing was the name of the casket company. But what I noticed that Dwayne McIntyre, who adopted, by the way, just to make a little twist, because, God likes to make these things really twist, is he had adopted 4 kids. They all lived in Palos Verdes. They were older, so they went to Pepperdine University, which is a private, what I considered very exclusive, university. And I thought, man, those kids are lucky. They get to live in Palos Verdes. And I know if you're from Palos Verdes, I'm sure it's not perfect, but when you live in Inglewood, it seems like Palos Verdes is perfect. Big houses, you can see the ocean. Anyway, so I'm working in this casket factory, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can swing a hammer all day long like this. And I watched the owner. He'd come in for an hour, maybe one day, maybe not the next day. And then that same summer, I'm walking down the street by a friend of mine's house in the inner city of Los Angeles, and I see this guy pulling weeds in one of the rundown houses there. And I look down, and who is it? It's Dwayne McIntyre. And I'd like to tell you I was very respectful and said, Mr. McIntyre. I mean, that would just be a lie. I think I probably said, what are you doing here? And he said, He said, I own this house. I said, why would you own this house? You live in Palos Verdes. I mean, own houses up there. That's in my 13-year-old brain. So what I tell people, Brett, is I learned everything I needed to know. God showed me everything I needed to know to be successful, to be financially independent, to be financially free when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
But I didn't have God in my life then either. So I didn't go to church. I'm not sure I believed in God. If I did, I was daring him to kill me. Like, I was so reckless as a child, and as a teenager, I was saying, look, if there is a God, here, prove it to me, and so it wasn't until 24 that it changed my life, when somebody knocked on the door, some guy named Wally, by the way, Brett. And there was no Wally's going to come into my house, number one. No offense to anybody out there with the name Wally, but and nobody was going to come into my house and read the Bible, right? That was not going to happen. But that day I opened the door, he came in, we started reading John, and that was the beginning of my journey.
Wow.
But I was obsessed with money as a kid because I didn't have any. Stood in line for government cheese. I've been hungry. I have all the tricks in the world, how to sleep when you're hungry. Intermittent fasting to me, like, kind of freaks me out a little bit, because I'm like, no, I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
And
that was my life, right?
I do it anyway, by the way. I do it anyway. But if I get hungry, I sometimes go, okay, today I'm not fasting. Yeah. But I was fascinated with money because I thought money was your worth, right? I thought that you have a net worth. I didn't have any money, so I must be worth less. And so I was obsessed with money. But I was obsessed with money for the wrong reason until I understood why God wanted me to have money, right? Because money gives you choices. Choices give you freedom. You want to have as much money as you possibly can have, because then you can impact the kingdom in a bigger way. God wanted me to have this knowledge so that I could share it with other people. And that's ultimately how I got to where I am now.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, for sharing your story. I know, and just being raw and vulnerable about it. Can't imagine, the life that you've lived, with the foster system and just in extreme poverty. And I'm sure some of our guests can relate to that. So just see where you've came from and where you're going now. And you founded an organization in 1988 called Creative Financial Services. And obviously, can you talk about that? So you created this name, which is really, I love it. I'm like, man, I want to hear more about that, Creative Financial Services. But this was in 1988.
Yeah.
So talk.
So I mean, everything that I had learned about money, Brett, which was all wrong, by the way, but I'd learned that, hey, you become a financial planner, you help other people plan for retirement, a concept that is not in the Bible, by the way. And you teach them to build up a bunch of money, and then someday turn off that spigot of exchanging time for money. And then you live off of that lump sum for the rest of your life, and you hope you don't run out of money in the end. And that was the system. Or you die. You got to die.
You
right?
Die. you
got to hope you die. Hey, we're getting low on money. How you feeling? I'm feeling. Well, no, I'm feeling too good. So good. Yeah. And, that's so. I learned all the wrong things. I didn't understand money as a kid. So I listened to the noise. I listened to the majority. The majority's never been right about anything, but I listened. So I went and I studied Wall Street, and I did all of this for 15 years. I had $700 million under management. I was charging 1%. I was doing pretty well, right? But I got this report one day, Brett, and it said, hey, your clients got 9.38% over this period of time. And I thought, wait a minute, I got money in that. And using the rule of 72, that's not right. I would have doubled my money over that period, and it's not grown very much. So I went back and I analyzed it after fees, expenses, taxes, everything. I didn't even take into account inflation. And it was a 4% rate of return, just a little bit over 4%. I thought, wait a minute, my clients aren't going to make it. It's not going to happen. What am I going to do? And I thought, well, okay, I have to study how my most successful clients, how they did it, how they became wealthy. And it came down to two things, Brett: real estate and businesses. That's it. There was no secret sauce. It was consistent real estate and businesses. And if you invest in real estate, you're in the real estate business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as you got to be in your own business, you got to be an entrepreneur. But I thought, how am I going to make any money doing that? Like, I mean, I'm going to tell all these people take their money out of Wall Street. I'm getting 1% to manage their money,
Right.
which I was just a financial babysitter. That's all I was. Well paid, but that's it. So as God has done in my life, he introduces me to a man, R Nelson Nash. And R Nelson Nash is the godfather. He didn't invent infinite banking. God did that, but he discovered it. And he discovered it when he owed over $500,000 in real estate, paying 23% back in the early 80s. And on his knees at 3 a.m., where we get a lot of our good ideas, he asked God to show him a way out of this debt. And his brother was in the insurance business and had sold them these insurance policies. And the loan rate then was 8%.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately changed Nelson's life. And he started to study this. And he never monetized it. He never marketed it. He never did any of that stuff. He wrote a book about it called Becoming Your Own Banker, Unlocking the Infinite Banking Concept. It's the best book on this subject that you can read. It's 92 pages. It's through the lens of the Bible. Nelson would do a 10-hour course, which I went to. And halfway between in the course, I thought, this guy's either a shyster because I'm waiting for him to sell me something. Mm-hmm. He's nuts, or he's brilliant. And I sure wasn't sure, even after 10 hours, which one it was. But he never asked me to buy anything. But he stood up and he said, he held his Bible up and he said, everything that I'm going to talk to you about today is through the lens of this book. If you don't know this book, come see me after the seminar and we'll talk. Everything about infinite banking is biblical. And so it was like, it was just mind blowing. And I bugged him every chance I could, asked him every question I could about infinite banking because I wanted to be the expert. I wanted to know more about this subject than anyone else. So I'm sorry, that's a long answer.
No, I'm interested. I just want to make sure I got the. So the name of that book, I want to write down that book. Was called Be Your Own Bank, right?
Becoming Your Own Banker, Unlocking the Infinite Banking Concept. Anybody on here that joins my community, takes a course, it's the honor system, of course. I'm not going to there's no completion certificate. Just take one course. Okay. It's free. Okay. Tell me you took the course, send me your address, and I will send you that book for free. No shipping, nothing. I'll pay for everything. And no obligation. You don't have to ever talk to me again. Awesome. I just want to share this information with the audience because it's that important.
No, I love that. Thank you. And I know you have a book that actually just came out, right?
I do.
Yep.
Make bank without the bank.
Make bank without the bank. Awesome, man. So make sure we get that. Go to Jim's. What is the website? Creating Tailwind.
Create Tailwind. All one word.com.
Awesome.
And Brett, just real quick, the reason it's Create Tailwind is we're fighting a headwind, right? I mean, your book talks about like the noise and the misinformation, right? And that internal struggle.
Yeah, right.
Same way in money. We're taught that we're too dumb to manage our money, to control our money. We're not smart enough to go buy real estate, to go start businesses, to do these things. Give your money to somebody smarter than you.
I always wonder that, we have to hire people to manage it. And they don't do that good a job because I'm the same way. I mean, I had a financial advisor, and I think after 5 years, I was like, and he kept saying, oh, you're making 10%, 10%, 10%. But then I said, well, after all your fees, after everything, hey, can you break it down? What am I making after that? And it was, like maybe 2%, 3%. I was like, that sucks. I'm out.
Yeah.
I can do better than that.
So, because they tell you what the average rate of return is in Wall Street.
Right.
And so let me give you a quick example. You have $100,000. The first year you get 100% rate of return. That's $200,000. The next year, though, you lose 50%. Now you're back to 100,000. But guess what? Your average rate of return is 25% because you went up 100, you went down 50, which means you went up 50 more than you went down. You divide that for the 2 years and it's 25%.
Yeah.
But you didn't make any money. If you ask your financial planner, hey, what's my compound annual growth rate? There'll be steam come out of their ears. They'll tilt. because they're like, oh, you want to know what you're actually making? Wait a minute. I don't want to. Let me tell you the sectors that are really hot right now.
Right. Yes. So you really got into this infinite banking concept, created creative financial services out of this, and you're talking about infinite banking. And as I mentioned, I have a few of these policies that I've created because I trust people, and I do things with them. I pay them, right, and I'm able to borrow from them. But when I read about you really building wealth, really building independent freedom from these concepts, that's where I get lost a little bit, buying businesses out of it. And I'm pretty early into the game. I think, I first started this maybe 40 years ago, something like that. So can you kind of talk about the benefits of infinite banking to our audience out there? Just kind of give us that.
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to think about this like a ledger. Okay. And I have a video that I'd be happy to share with you that goes through this, but I just reproduced it, but it's like a ledger. And I'm going to put the assets on the wrong side. I'm going to put the assets on the right, but just on the left-hand side is our money pool. Okay. And it's this insurance policy. And it's not the type of insurance policy that you would go down and get from your local insurance guy who's going to write you a death benefit, right? It's designed for cash value. It's the way a bank would buy BOLI, bank-owned life insurance, or corporation would buy and design COLI, corporate-owned life insurance, because they know what we know, right? Is that this tax shelter where this money, once it goes in there, it's never taxed again. You have this cash value. It's designed for cash value. We buy it from a mutual insurance company. And the reason is that policy owners own mutual insurance companies 100%. So as an owner of that company, I have a contractual right to take an interest-only loan, somewhere between 4% and 5% right now.
I just did one, actually. Yeah, it was like 4.8 or something like that.
Of the insurance company's money, not your money, Brett. That money did not come out of your account. Your money stayed in there and grows guaranteed every single day, tax invisible. And now you have the insurance company's money. So now I have OPM, other people's money, and I have use and control, which is what a bank wants with money. And I'm going to go buy real estate. Okay. I'm going to go buy a cash flowing asset. Now, when I buy real estate, that I have the asset growing in value while they're printing more money and debasing our money, and I have cash flow. When that cash flow comes back in, I don't need that for my groceries. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to redeploy it and buy more real estate. Okay, so I'm going to clear it through my insurance contract because I can pay. Remember, it's interest only. So what that loan means is that I take out the policy today and I take a loan tomorrow, which I can do. I don't have to pay anything for 1 year. And then I pay 4% or 4.8 like you're paying in 1 year. So that means I have the use of that money from the insurance company. And my only obligation is to pay them the interest at the end of the year. So I'm going to take their money and can I make more than 4.85% or whatever you're paying?
Right.
Absolutely. Right. You know the techniques, you know how to do it. And you're going to make, look, I tell people my goal is at least 25% cash on cash. I know a lot of guys in the real estate business, they say, Jim, that's too low. I'm making 40%. I'm making this. And I'm like, I know. But then there's the brand new guy that tells me that 25% is too much. So I try to I try to balance it. Right. And it makes the math easy. And Brett, I went to public school, so I like easy math. So, so you have this system of policies, because what will happen, Brett, if you keep on buying insurance with the cash value as collateral and you use the insurance company's money to go buy real estate, that cash flow is going to get to where it won't fit in the policy that you have. So then you have to go buy another one and another one and another one, just like branches of a bank. But it's a cash flow system. It's not an investment. It's not a buy and hold. Okay. It's like the real estate business. But what everybody wants to talk about is the insurance contract. Well, how much am I making in the insurance contract? No. It's like cogeneration. I need the insurance contract so I can use the insurance company's money to go buy real estate.
Mm.
And in the beginning, as you know, when I put in $1 the first year, I don't have that whole dollar to go put in the real estate.
Right.
But by year 10, I put in $1, I have $1.50 to go put in the real estate.
Wow.
Right? We always want to think long term. The
Long
Bible
term.
says it says a good man leaves an inheritance, but a good person leaves an inheritance, right? And so we want to think 3 generations ahead.
Mm-hmm.
3 generations ahead. You have 4 kids. I mean, think if your kids, grandkids, great grandkids never have to walk into a bank and ask for a loan ever in their lives, how much more money would be inside the family and the wealth that would be in the family? So what most people do is they say, okay, I'm going to build this insurance contract. I'm going to kind of build it small, and I'm going to use it to buy cars, and I'll recapture all the interest I ever was going to pay in the cars. But no, I'm saying no. Go buy cash flowing assets. Put as much money into that insurance contract as you can. I mean, I have people that start with millions of dollars. I have people that build from $20,000 to millions of dollars buying real estate. I've had people change their lives buying real estate and doing infinite banking. I'm sorry, I went off on another rant there, but questions about what I just said?
Yeah, no, that's really good. So, I'm just gonna maybe just a couple more questions just for my own. Like, how many policies do you have? Like, I think I have maybe like 3, but you talk about getting more policies, because maybe there's a cap of how much money you can put in there, and but you also still have to pay the insurance premium, so you have to make sure that you can pay these premiums, right? Each year.
My tenants pay that. My tenants pay that from the cash flow, but I have 28 policies.
Wow. Okay.
And when Nelson graduated from this world in 2019, he had at one point in time he had 48. And so, well, do I have 28 policies on me? No, Brett, I don't. Mm-hmm. But if you and I did a real estate deal, I'm buying a policy on you because you're 43, I'm 58. I like the numbers that your cash value is going to generate better than mine. But does that mean I'm too old to do infinite banking? No, I buy policies every time somebody will give one to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I say give one to me, they'll approve me. And it's one of the reasons I'm doing the intermittent fasting. I'm trying to get down to preferred. I'm actually, my weight is at preferred right now, right at it. So I want to get 10 pounds lighter, and then I'll go reapply for preferred. But I have insurance on business partners, family members, anybody that I have insurable interest on, and I don't pay the premium. My clients do, my customers do. I've started over 30. I've either started, bought completely 30 businesses using this concept. And the first thing that I do is my key people, I put insurance on them. I put insurance on them. I'm the owner. I'm the beneficiary. They're the insured. Now my company is more secure. So I have policies on every key person in my life and everybody that I have insurable interest on. And every time I add somebody, then I buy a policy on them. I know that might be confusing because I just gave you a lot of information there.
So as far as the families, I mean, you got to let's start off with those key people. Like, do you buy policies for children, spouse? Is that where is that where it starts? Because I haven't bought any policies like on my kids and anything like that. So
yeah. So look, God forbid if you walked outside and got hit by a truck, we want your family to be secure, taken care of. They would get a tax-free death benefit, right?
Right. And
now you're smart. You own assets, so it's not like you're working a 9 to 5 and you're going to stop existing, exchanging that time for money. Your assets are still going to provide income to your family, and good for you, right? But that death benefit is their security as well, and so they take that money, they put it in more assets because their expenses will go up if you're not here. They're going to have to. Maybe it's childcare, maybe it's other things. So that's the thing that I love about this is it has a legacy rate of return too, because we're all going to graduate from this world sooner or later. And when we do, we want to make sure that we can pass more money down to our heirs instead of somebody else, or instead of just not. And so infinite banking is seceding from the banking system. It's no different than seller finance. It's bringing the finance part of banking to the you and me level, just like seller finance, which I know you love and I love as well. Um, because why let the bank take our money and then go use it and make money? By the way, from us, because if we have money loaned at a bank and we have money deposited at the bank, then they're making over 2,000% more than us from us.
Right, for sure, for sure. And the one key thing is that even when you use the money or borrow the cash, that the inside of your account, the money can still increase in interest, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The money grows every single day, guaranteed.
Right.
And the thing is, that's why we use the whole life policy, is because of the guarantees.
Right.
Universal life, that doesn't have those guarantees. It's sexier, that has great projections, but I want guarantee. I do not want failure to be an option, because you know where the rate of return is going to come from me? It's in the real estate and the businesses, because I know how to generate way more return there than any insurance policy could give me. The insurance policy is not an investment. It is a place it's my money pool.
Right. Yeah. I love it. I love it. That's awesome, Jim. Well, thank you so much, Jim. I'm going to probably use the same questions that you use on your particular show, which is, what is the best advice that you were ever given?
Best advice I was ever given is, when you read, take notes and write questions. And whether it's reading your Bible, I was never a guy that I didn't have good enough penmanship to write in my Bible. So I started getting a little journal, one of those little cheap journals, and I would just write, and I would write questions. And so then when I was new in my walk, I would say, hey, I don't understand this in Matthew, and I didn't understand this in Job, and I really don't understand this, like the Old Testament. And so it was read and write down the questions, and then ask somebody the questions. And if it's not the Bible, and you can ask somebody who wrote it what they meant by that, then send them an email, send them a personal handwritten card. I promise you, most of them, because I've done this for a long time, most of them will answer you.
Because they never get that.
That's the best way.
Because they never get that.
No, they're like, wow, that's a great question. Let me help you with that.
No, I love it. I wrote that down. That's awesome, man. So last question is, again, you asked this on your show, but if God came down from heaven, gave you any book that was not the Bible, what would that be for you?
Mine's a little different. Okay, it's a little weird, but it's Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And this was a book that I was actually forced to read, but thank goodness I did. Is Jonathan Livingston Seagull is a seagull, and seagulls have a pretty boring life. They are taught to be one thing, right? That's all they do. But he wanted to do like tricks, and he wanted to be more. And that book taught me that you could be more. You just have to think different than the herd. So I read that book when I was like 15, 16 years old. And it impacted me, because I thought, I don't have to stay in poverty. I don't have to stay in scarcity. Now, I still didn't understand that abundance comes from God. I didn't get that till I was 24. Okay, so I needed to learn. God needed to mold me. I needed to be in the valley. But that book made me think I can be different. And then when I became a Christian, and I thought, man, I'm never going to have the sweater vest and, have my, pure mind. But I grew up in California. Have you ever seen these girls in bikinis? I mean, pure mind, seriously? All of that. I thought, I'm never going to be able to fit in. Until I read the Bible and read the Bible and read the Bible. And I thought, oh, wait a minute. This is exactly, I'm the target audience. Right, I'm the broken guy.
That's right.
I'm who God uses. But, and so that's awesome. That's the book. Yeah.
I love it. I feel like I need to go buy a sweater vest right now. Like you've mentioned that a couple of times. The normal Christian wears a sweater vest. So anyways, Chandler Bing over here. All right, this is a wrap. Jim, thanks so much for being on the podcast today. Make sure you guys go check out Jim's website. Again, createtailwind.com, right?
Absolutely.
And if you sign up for Jim's course, take the course and send him a message. He will send you that free book. And congratulations on your book, Jim. Wish you all the best, man.
You too. Congratulations on your book. Thank you so much for having me, and Godspeed.